What's up, Pickle Brains? Today we're talking about the backhand counterattack. Most people refer to this as the backhand counter. We're going to talk all about it. Austin's going to teach us a few things. And also I'll talk about what I've been doing lately with my grip. So stick around. I do kind of want to jump right into that point of it. And I do switch my grip on a backhand counter. I've been doing it for like 6 months, even though I don't play that often.
That's impressive.
But I do switch it in order to get the ball down more. It's like the only way that I've found to get the ball down. What do you do on your end? And then I'll go into detail on why I switch my grip and how it's worked for me. And then you can tell me how wrong I am.
So what do I do on my end? So it's interesting because I'm watching a video of pro Patrick Kopka. He's a Vegas guy. And
Yeah.
he's up and coming, super good guy. And I actually played with him. He was like 3 weeks into pickleball, and he was already playing with all the 5-0s. And all of us are just looking at each other like, who is this guy? Like this guy will be this guy will be a really good pro. And he's definitely proving that to us. Anyways, I was watching him because he has so many slow-mo videos on his Instagram. So I was watching, and he lifts his bottom 3 fingers, his pinky, his ring finger, and his middle finger. He lifts those in between every single shot. I'm so analytical in that way. Like I like really getting deep into what grips people are holding. So he's going from a continental grip on his backhand, and then it goes to his forehand side, and he, in between every single shot, he lifts those 3 fingers and he moves his grip from continental to eastern if he is hitting a forehand or about eastern. Mm-hmm. And then he goes to hitting a hard backhand counter. He's switching his grip that fast. And so I'm like, how is he doing that? And then it's coming down to anticipation. So what it came down to is if the ball was on his right side, he's a righty, he would switch to that forehand grip. And if it was on his left side, he would switch to that backhand grip for the most part. But he wouldn't do it every time. And I don't have enough footage to say that that's 100% accurate anyway. But the problem is, it's like if someone hits it behind him, I don't know how he's going to get that backhand down if he's holding an Eastern forehand, because Eastern forehand is going to bring your paddle upwards more. So anyways, I'd love to figure that out, and I need to ask him. I just need to ask him what's going on there. But you see him lift those 3 fingers, and that's how people are changing their grip. It's literally just lifting those 3 bottom fingers is what changes the grip. I don't know if you've seen that. AJ Kohler definitely does that, but he's just so loose. And dude has a wicked fast counter. He has a better backhand than he does a forehand. So it's kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah,
but have you seen that?
AJ Kohler is super wristy too. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's his game.
Yeah. And if you watch him, he's changing his grip. I'm like, how do you have time in a hands battle? That's what I don't get. I understand changing your grip because you're going to hit a backhand roll, but I don't understand changing your grip in a hands battle. I don't get it. But maybe one day I will.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily good at it, but I just do it now. I don't know. I'm not even sure what it is I'm looking at. If I see any type of a wind up or feel any sort of an attack, I'm instantly going from we could call it somewhat continental to Eastern backhand.
Oh wow.
And
okay.
So that's when mine switches. I don't know. It might be something that I see. I guess usually it is a wind up. If I'm like thinking back and watching and seeing someone attack, it just seems like my counters on the backhand anytime will go down and be a much better counter. Otherwise, for some reason in continental, I don't always pop it up, but I'm definitely popping it up a lot more when I'm in a continental grip and hitting a backhand counter.
Right.
So I like to switch it just a little bit. And then I'll switch it not just on counters, but like the one-handed backhand. But lately I have been practicing a little bit the two-handed backhand. This is just a side note, and I figured something out. So
you didn't
check
give up
it
on
out.
It.
No, I mean, I did give up on it, and now I'm back to it. But I figured out one big difference, and it's not very noticeable unless you're watching it like in slow motion. So look this week on Pickle Brain Pod on Instagram, and you'll see one of my posts. I'm going to show the difference between what I was doing with my two-handed backhand and what I'm currently doing, and how it's improved in two ways. Well, probably three. It's faster. I can get more topspin, but most importantly, I can be more consistent because I made one slight change. I'm not going to say what that is on the pod, but I will. I'll share it on Instagram this week. So take a look at that.
Cliffhanger. I'm drooling right now to find out. Give us a little hint.
Okay. It has to do with a part of the body.
Okay.
So what I do when I'm missing them is I'm actually wearing shorts, and then when I'm making them, I'm butt naked. So
you have nothing on.
Everyone runs away. I can just hit a soft little one over the net, and it's just a clean winner.
Every single time. So long as you get it over the net, it's good. That's a good strategy. It goes against the dress code, but actually it might not, because the 2024 rules do state that it's like up to social standards is what the dress code is.
Oh, really?
All dependent on social standards. Like, I don't think that the world's social standards are too hot right now. So,
oh, that's for sure. I mean, I've seen people play with their shirts off. I've even played with my shirt off when it gets real hot in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe we need to start a new trend and start playing with our pants off.
Please, no. That's a negative
it
for
might
me.
work against the competition. So you currently, Os, do not switch your grip on a backhand counter, correct?
At all. But that's because I got that two-y. Since I have a two-hander, I can take my left arm and I can put my palm down. My left hand.
Yeah.
Put my palm down, and that puts my paddle face down. But where people catch me is if it comes right at my body and I can't put that second hand on, I'm pretty much just handicapped in that position and handcuffed. And so that's where it really gets you. So that's why I want to learn it, is just so that I can counter with one hand until it gets to the side of me, and then I can counter with two. Because when you're playing on the left side and you're a righty player, you're not going to be countering with a two-handed backhand unless you're literally in your partner's square the entire time, which just isn't going to make sense.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to move your body over. So I definitely want to get that grip change in. I feel very comfortable there, but I do feel like that could benefit my game a lot. The only problem is if I'm switching from an Eastern forehand, which I want to show you guys the grips really quick. Eastern forehand, we come down the flat face of our paddle. We're going to put our knuckle right here, our index knuckle, the inside of it, and the bottom of our palm for every single stroke. Draw a line right there. These two things need to be lining up on the paddle. We're going to come down the flat part, and we're going to put those two things right there. Index knuckle, bottom of our palm. That's Eastern. And then if I move over to this bevel right here, it's the second bevel, that's Continental. Those two same things are lining up. And so it puts my paddle perfectly flush so that I can counter on a backhand and a forehand. Now, the backhand counter is stronger from this position than a forehand counter is. It's a little bit harder to get your forehand down. With an Eastern, forehand is like really strong because it's straight down. Backhand's freaking weak. So you need that second hand on. So that's the grips that we're talking about. And also Spencer's talking about an Eastern backhand, which is you come down this side edge here, same part, index knuckle, bottom of your palm. For those of you that are listening, you have to hop on YouTube or Spotify to see this, obviously. But this is going to be Eastern backhand. That's really going to favor that backhand side. Your forehand side, you will not be able to counter on. So you're fully committed to just a backhand, no matter where it is. But you have all of this reach you can hit a backhand with. Hopefully you guys can see that in the camera after I edit this and it's a little bit smaller, but you have reach all the way to your right side too. So that's not the worst thing to do. It's just if they specifically get it in that hip area, that's probably going to be a little bit more difficult to get down. But I'd love to learn to switch it. It's just I don't know if they're going to my forehand or my backhand. So I feel like if I were to switch it, if I switch to Continental, I'll still have a solid counter on my forehand and my backhand. But yeah, I don't know. It's something that I have to figure out.
Yeah, and I think like Like you think that you don't have time to switch it, but then I think, or at least my brain tells me, I don't have time to put two hands on the paddle. Any type of a counterattack, my brain will not tell my hands to put both of them on the paddle, or I think that I don't have time. So maybe I could work on that, and you could work on maybe switching yours, or not, because there's so many pros that are super successful, like Ben Johns, that just keep the same grip and are doing just fine with it.
I definitely need to change it. Like, that's what I've decided is I need to change it for those body shots. It's just, it makes no sense. It's so weak because my paddle face is straight up and down, and I need to get the ball countered back down like Travis Rettenmeier does. We need to see what he's doing because I was just watching him and Zane play in the bronze medal match, and they beat.
That was fun, man. I was stoked for him.
Yeah, dude.
He's
so good.
He's back up there, man.
He's back
looking good.
Yeah, his backhand count. He was playing way better than Zane was.
Yeah.
But yeah, his backhand counter just goes straight down, and he can get it down, and it's like he's not even worried about his forehand side. So right. I don't know. He's got to be changing his grip or something. But at the same time, I feel like his grip all around favors his backhand, whereas my grip definitely favors my forehand because it's my stronger side. I was talking to Thomas Wilson, actually, and he said he holds full Eastern full time, Eastern forehand. And I was talking to DJ Young, and it's the same exact thing, full time. But then they might change it if they get like a pop-up or something like that. Change it to Eastern backhand for a pop-up to the backhand side.
But you got to think about how forehand dominant they are, especially
so forehand dominant. Yeah. He runs around his backhand. I don't know how he runs around his backhand on the left side every time and still covers the middle.
Yeah, just super athletic.
I can't move that much. I'll be tired after game one.
Yeah, it's a tough cover. So, yeah, I did watch that bronze medal match. That was super fun to watch. I'm glad that Travis got that medal. I feel like if Zane would have played a little bit better the day before, I think they would have been playing the Johns in the final. I still haven't watched the final, so don't tell me any results
I haven't either.
there. Oh, okay, good. But
yeah, they played against Tyson and Martinez Vic. And Zane was struggling for sure.
Yeah, he was just struggling, unfortunately, because they went on a long run beating Thomas and Matt Wright. Like, they were playing solid, and then they went back to playing solid today. I ended up watching that bronze medal match today, and that was really fun. But another player to watch while we're talking about the backhand counter is actually Connor Garnett, who has been successful for these last bunch of tournaments, mainly all year, with whoever he's playing with. I swear he's had to have a different partner every tournament. He's been looking really good. But we know him for his two-handed backhand dink. We know him for his two-handed backhand drive. But most of his, and some of his counters are two hands. But I'd like to talk with him and see, unless you have a better idea, when he decides to go one hand versus two hands. Because some of his one-handed counters, like down the line, those were looking sick too, and they were working. But he's definitely figured out something because he's sometimes a two-handed counter and then sometimes a one. And I'm not really sure if it's a time issue or if it's a location of the ball issue. Did you notice that at all watching any of his matches this weekend?
I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out how they decide between one and two. Because for me, it's really easy when I'm playing right side to decide between one and two. If they attack me from straight on, I do one. Because it's difficult to get the body out of the way, and you have so much more reach with one. But if they attack me from cross court, or they try to speed it up at my partner cross court, I cover middle with two. Because I have so much more control, and I can come over the ball on that side and hit just a true two-handed backhand.
And you have more time.
But I don't know what he's doing. All I know is it's really interesting. He'll hit a backhand, and he takes his left hand off the paddle every time in between the shot, is what I've noticed. Like I said, I really study this stuff, but I don't know why he does that. I feel like it could relax your arms a little bit, but it's like he hits a two-y majority of the time. I don't know why he detaches in between every shot.
Yeah, what
I
would
don't
be
know.
really funny is if he didn't know either, or we find
He
some of these
probably
players
doesn't.
that are super successful and they're like, yeah, I don't know. I just, when I get in there, I just, my brain turns off, you know? But I would imagine he knows
Yeah,
the difference between both of them because he's had a lot of success too on that counter. So for
I'm
me, with the
sure.
one-handed counter, I do feel like I have time to switch it most times. And when I do, I'm a lot more successful. When I don't switch it, I would say I'm like maybe 40% successful on counters.
Yeah, that's interesting. Just because your paddle face is so far open.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to try. I need to figure out how I can change it in the middle of a hands battle. I just don't want to be stuck and look like an idiot. But I think it's just going to come down to practice and literally changing your grip in between every shot. Just lifting those three fingers, I think, is keeping it that simple. But I don't know. I don't know. But I think it's interesting to talk about. And I know that there's an answer out there. So we should figure it out and we'll come back to the next podcast and
Yeah,
tell
it's
them
cool
what.
to think about too, like him lifting those three fingers. That could be, I'm sure he's switching his grip in that situation, but I have noticed certain things with players. Like, I think I've mentioned this before on the pod. I used to be extremely obsessive compulsive, and I've worked on that throughout my life, and I'm not as much anymore.
He
But
still
I know
is.
I have certain ticks and certain things that I do. And there are other players. I think it's on the podcast or maybe when we were chatting, I mentioned Pablo Tellez and how he's left-handed, right?
Yeah.
Between shots, he will take his right hand and like flick his fingers open,
Yeah.
like a little bit before each one, and I think it kind of gets him into a rhythm. I wonder if partly, I think he's still switching his grip, but I wonder if PK partly is has that same sort of thing going
I
to where
wonder.
he's kind of getting into a rhythm. It might be an obsessive compulsive thing, but at the same time, that's allowing him to switch his grip. But it'd be interesting to ask him and then report back. But
Yeah, I'll definitely ask him and we'll report back and figure it out. I'll guarantee you I'll guarantee you all these guys aren't even thinking about it. They're obviously not thinking about it, but I feel like at some point they have thought about it to do it. But now
yeah,
it's just part of their nature to do it. So, but it's definitely I think it's way beneficial to change your grip if you can do it in time. I just think we need to figure out what it is that's going on. But that leads us into we've been talking a lot about pros. We have the PPA Red Rock Open going on, and it starts this week. And tons of pros are in town. I'm actually going to be drilling with Colin Schicky tomorrow. He was on our very first podcast. So I'm
yep,
excited to drill with him, and then we're going to be playing some games after. Me and Tyler are going to be playing pro. He's a good buddy of mine. And then me and Avery are going to be playing pro and mixed as well. So it should be an exciting week. But I don't know. Have you checked the brackets to see which pros are coming? I know that the
yeah.
big ones, from what I've heard, the main big ones aren't.
No, I think they are. I mean,
They
I
are?
can't really think. I can't really
I'm
think
just
of
going to
any
look.
of the main ones that aren't. Ben and Colin will both be there. Um,
Because they didn't go last year.
yeah, they weren't there last year. It was 2 years ago. Was the last time I saw him there. Because Colin played with Deckel, but that was a blast because Tyson and Brendan ended up beating him. So that was
That
fun to
was
watch.
that was the best match ever.
Go ahead and look that up. I want to teach one more thing, and I
Okay.
posted this on Instagram this week in regards to the backhand counter. Um, what I taught was actually related to speed ups and how to eliminate that big backswing on the speed up so it's not a big tell, so you're not showing the opponent what you're doing. But you can do the same thing with a backhand counter. So one important point with the backhand counter is not having too big of a backswing. So a way that you can do that is to either get a practice net and set it in front of you and practice reaching over the net while you hit balls. And this will cause you to make contact with the ball out in front of your body instead of waiting for that ball to get into your body and you have a much worse counterattack. So timing it properly and making sure you're making contact out in front of you can be huge with backhand counters. It allows you to get the ball down. It allows you to make good contact. You can put spin on the ball. Once it gets into your body, then you're in scary territory. So if you practice reaching over a net while you're hitting these, then you can see that that will help you keep it out in front of your body. Another thing that helps, and this is what I taught with speed ups too, is not having a big backswing. Maybe you have a two-handed backhand counter. I really don't think it's necessary to have some huge backswing behind you. Plus, you probably don't have time to do that. If you're drilling with a net in front of you, so let's say the net is basically under your armpits. If you're drilling with a net in front of you, once you try to go back for a big backswing, you're going to be hitting the net. And so this will teach you to, okay, I've gone too far. I've hit the net here. So you can keep it more compact. The more compact you can keep that counter, I think the better chance you have of winning the point. What do you think, Oz?
Yeah, it's interesting because someone came up to me. Her name's Minnie. She's a former pro. And she was like, hey, I learned this new thing on YouTube from Johnson Cola yesterday. It's like the favorite thing, my favorite thing that I've learned. And it's you want to keep your paddle in your peripheral at all times. You never want to let it get out of your peripheral vision. If you do, that means that you have too big of a backswing. The ball's definitely going to go out. That was what you were talking about, right? Just to make sure.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Good. And I was like, yes, I absolutely love it. When was this? And she was like, I'm not sure when it was. I was like, the reason that I'm interested is because I literally made a YouTube video about it about 4 or 5 months ago, about how there's a wall behind you and you never want to go behind that wall. So I'd be interested.
I remember
to see.
that. Yeah.
I was like, I'm interested to see when the timeline is. I wonder if he got the idea from my YouTube video. Because me and John are both with a couple of, like, we're both with Selkirk, we're both with Titan. So we're pretty on the same page with a lot of things. So I was curious to see. But I don't even know when the video was. She said that she was going to look it up and then get back to me. But it's definitely important to keep that paddle out in front. And I learned that from Mason Ford. He's a former pro. To keep that paddle out in front because he has such concise motion. And it's just tough to play against because everything's going in and he's so quick by keeping everything out in front of him. It's the same with hitting a counter. Just keeping everything out in front of you. So
yeah, that's an excellent point. You can say that so many times because I need to retain that information. If you can, like you said, pretend there's a wall, I don't know, we'll say a wall basically at your shoulders. If you can't see your paddle anymore right outside of your peripheral, and we've said this so many times, pickleball is not tennis. Tennis will help you. There's definitely a lot of things that will help you, but pickleball is certainly a lot more compact, and you can have a lot more success by being more compact and not such a big backswing.
Okay, so here's the draw. So this is for men's dubs. I'm just going to name some of the people that are the bigger names.
You said Red Rock. So this is PPA Red Rock for anyone that might not be familiar, and that's actually in St. George. That's where Austin lives currently. So we're both going to go check out this tournament. Maybe we could do a pod from there. We'll definitely do it from St. George, but it'd be cool if we could get a little set up like near the courts or whatever, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, Go ahead. Sorry.
And maybe in the near future, me and Spencer will be doing pods together every time. Should be good.
It's certainly a possibility.
Hint, hint. All right, so we got Christian Alshon and Connor Garnett. They're big names that'll be there. Jay DeVilliers is going to be playing with Pat Smith. I'm glad that they're back together, man.
Yeah, me too. It's fun.
I like them together. James Ignatowicz is going to be playing with Johnny Goldberg.
Okay, I did see that. I don't know, man.
What?
I don't know. I don't think they'll get very far. I mean, I'll eat my words if they do, but I don't see it happening. I mean, it sounds like that was probably just a last-minute thing.
Yeah, it had to have been. Wow.
Matt wasn't there last year either.
Yeah, he didn't go.
Yeah, I guess he's not a fan of coming to St. George.
The year prior, you would never guess who he was playing with.
Who? You mean James Ignatowicz?
Nope. No, the year prior, he came the year prior, and I remember. It was like the very first tournament that I'd ever seen.
I remember I was there.
You do?
He was playing with Loudmouth from California.
Yes.
Jeff Warnick.
Yes. Jeff Warnick.
You said I'd never guess, and I guessed.
I nailed it. See, you already knew. But if you had to guess, you wouldn't have guessed. So Ben and Colin will be there. Like you said, I had no idea. I didn't think that they would be there. Wow, everybody's there, man. Dylan and James. Sorry, James. JW. That's what it is on here.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's
that doesn't
James
sound
on
right.
there. It's like, who the hell is James? But yeah,
Why are they putting that?
I
Got the
don't know.
Johnson Bros. AJ's playing with Guh. That'll be a freaking good team.
That'll be fun too. But AJ's taking some time off, so he'll be barely getting back into the grind. Maybe that'll be a good thing. Maybe it won't. Maybe he'll be cold. Maybe he'll just come in hot because he got some rest. But I actually messaged him the other night. I'm like, do you even play anymore, or what's going on? But yeah, he said he'd be back, so we'll see.
Where have you been?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually in the mixed qualifier because he hasn't been playing for a while.
Oh, really?
And so it's me and Avery. Avery has played pro. I've never played a pro event in mixed or in men's doubles, but I have in singles. And so it's all about PPA points. And so no doubt, first round, it's going to be us versus AJ and his partner. But I heard his partner
he's
is
playing with someone I don't know.
someone random. So
Yeah.
sucks that AJ has to lose first round, but it is what it is.
Yeah, get him.
Okay, Tyler Leung and Yame Vic together. That'll be a good team.
Yeah, they'll be solid.
Tyson and
Jaume's
Deckel.
been great.
Tyson and Deckel are just still going at it for some reason. Not sure why.
Yeah, me neither.
They're going to continue on. I don't know why Tyson's on the right side of the court. But
We should make bets how much longer that's going to be.
it won't make it past July.
Deckel can have some really good games and some really good points, but he can also be super streaky. And I don't know, them together as a pair so far hasn't worked, but we'll see.
Jack Sock will be there with Colin. If he drops out, I'm taking Jack's spot.
Yeah.
Definitely. Hayden's going to be there playing with Callan. Then you got Federico and Pablo. That'll be a good team. So it's pretty deep. And then in the mixed, also in the qualifiers, Chuck Taylor. So it's like if we don't play AJ, we're for sure playing Chuck.
Yeah. No, it's
Little
going to be
Chucky.
intense in the qualifier for sure. You just got to go into it thinking that way. But just remember that they don't know your game. I think there's a lot of pros that, when they're really familiar with other pros' games, they're going to do well. But sometimes, it hurts them a little bit when they're not as familiar with someone's game. So just mix it up on them and have fun. And who knows?
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. I'm really excited for it, and I have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And not necessarily everything to gain. It's just like either way, it's going to be a fun experience. So
that's when I play my best. Like if I'm going and playing like a 5-0 tournament where I know I'm underqualified, then I play my best because I'm like, I got nothing to lose. Like if I lose, it's fine because I already know the other players are better, and then I can just for some reason turn it on and play pretty well. So I hope that's the case.
Yeah, it was so interesting when DJ Young came into town. I was like, I think I can do pretty decent against these pros. Like I think that we're pretty close. And at that time, I was probably nearer the 5-0 range. Now I'm nearer the 6-0 range. But I'm like, I don't know. You still hold out that hope that you'll be able to at least compete with them. But at the same time, there's no pressure going on. I just wonder if I'm going to hop in and it's just going to be like, whoa, like this is still such a different level.
Yeah, feel like you got hit by a truck.
Yeah, where it's just like they're hitting dinks and it's like I'm chasing balls and running back and forth because that's what it felt like playing against DJ. So we'll see how it goes. It should be fun.
Yeah.
So if any of you are randomly going to the PPA Red Rock and listen to this pod, come say what's up to me and Spencer. I'd say we'd get you a hat, but we don't have any hats right now. But we'll give you a high five or something like that.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
Maybe I'll have a couple quarters in my pocket.
Yeah, Spencer's always willing to tip you. Deep
But
pockets.
yeah, come say hi. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to hearing about your drill session with Colin Schick. He's the man. He's a sweetheart of a guy.
Yeah, he is.
Hopefully you can get some footage, and maybe next week we'll talk about how that drill session went and what you learned. So make sure and watch next week's pod, and we could have some exciting stuff for you.
Yeah, we will. It'll be really, really fun. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Later.
Peace.